Hi, Chris Smith here from Storytelling Schools, here to tell you another story. This one's called The Children of Wax, and it's a story about being stuck inside and wanting to go outside. Maybe some of you know what that's like. I hope you like it. It's a kind of story of, well, mystery, maybe you could call it mystery. Let's see what you think. Hope you like it. Children of Wax. And it goes like this. Once, not twice or thrice, but just the once, there was a forest. And every day the sun blazed down on that forest, hot, hot, hot. And in the middle of the forest there was a village of huts, and the sun blazed down every day on the thatched roofs of those huts. And the kids went out to play a little, and then they came back in again when it was too much for them, and the adults worked in the fields and went hunting, and life passed like that. In one of those huts there lived a hunter with his wife. And when she gave birth to her first little baby, the midwife looked at it and said, "But there's something really different about your child, something special, I guess. Your baby is made of wax. Never let that child out in the sun or it will melt." And the mother nodded. "Okay, give him to me. You're my little wax baby, I'll take care of you. Can you go out at night?" "Yeah," she said, "just at night when it's cool, never in the sun." And time passed, and the baby stayed indoors all day, and a brother and sister were born, both made of wax. And the mother in the day would tell them stories about the outside world, about the mountains and the forests and the rivers and the oceans, and they'd imagine them and want to see them. But she'd say, "No, children, you will never go outside and see them. You cannot. It's too dangerous. Stay in here." And every day the kids would look out the window, look at the birds, look at the animals, look at the trees. And the eldest son, he wanted to go. Sometimes he'd sing to himself as he watched and longed to be free. "I want to be free, go out in the sun. I want to be free, to find my own way. I want to be free, to fly like a bird. I want to be free. I want to be free." And he watched and he sang and he sang and he watched until one day he couldn't bear it any longer. And he ran outside into the sun and shouted, "I'm free!" But at that moment, his body began to melt. His brother and sister watched as he collapsed down into a puddle of wax on the ground, melted and liquid. They watched all day as the puddle just sat there. They waited until night, and then they went outside and they brought the wax inside and they moulded it to the shape of a bird. The sister said, "He loved birds, let's make him a bird." And then they took leaves and put it on the wax to make it look like feathers, and then they took it and popped it back outside in the night. And when the morning came at sunrise, they were watching as that wax bird started to move a little. "What's happening?" said the brother. "Is it the wind?" They watched as leaves turned to feathers, as the beak turned black, as the eyes began to move, as the head began to turn, as the wings unfurled and a bird flew up into the sky and circled above the hut and skirkled under the sun above the village. And then it came down and perched on the hut where they lived and sang down to them through the window. "Now I am free, to fly out in the sun, to find my own way. Now I am free." And as they watched, he flew up towards the sun and out over the mountains and was gone. And that is the end of that, the story of the children of wax. Now, you've heard it. What are you going to do with it? Remember, we have our 8 things you can do. You can tell it, you can talk it, you can act it, you can draw it, you can sing it, you can research it, you can write it, and you can recycle it. Let's have a think about this story. First of all, the telling. So, if you want to learn to tell it from memory, the way I just did, then do yourself a little story map, maybe something like this. Here's the forest and the hut and the sun blazing down every day. Here's the hunter and his wife in their hut. Here's the baby made of wax, never go outside. 3 of them. There's the mother telling the stories about the world and how it is. And the mountains and the forests and the oceans and everyone listening, but they can't go outside. Here's the eldest son looking through the window, singing a song about how he wishes to be free. Here's the puddle when he goes outside and melts under the sun. Here's the bird that they make from wax and leaves and twigs. Here's the bird flying off and coming back and singing. And then off over the mountains, out into the wider world. So that's the kind of map you can use to get to know the sequence of events in the story, something like that. And then you might want to find some gestures to remind you of what happens in the story. So they could be like this. Let's see if I can do it in this direction. Stepping the story, we call it. So forests and huts and blazing sun. Hunter and his wife. Baby of wax. Don't go outside. I want to be free. Blub, melted to a puddle. Making a bird. Watching it fly. Now it's gone. Something like that. So we step through the story. Blazing sun. Hunter and wife. 3 babies of wax. Don't go outside. I want to be free. Puddle of wax. Making the bird. Flying away. That's an example of stepping. And then when you can map it and step it and kind of tell it, practice telling it from memory, you can tell it to a friend, you can record it and send it. That's always a good way to start. But as well as that, you can talk about it, what's going on here, what's going on for the children, what's going on for the parents, what's the story mean? It's not obvious what this one means, so talk all about that. Acting it out, there's lots of acting, dialogue with parents, dialogue between the children, what the children think and say during the whole of the story. You can draw, you can paint, you can also make a bird with leaves and wax or plasticine or glue to make the bird that flew away. You can make up a new song that he sings, maybe another song that the mother sings when he's gone. How does she feel? Happy, sad, both? Poem, the same thing, to express moments in the story, feelings of the characters in the story. Bit of research. If we look at here, well, you've got a bit of science. What's going on with wax? What is wax? Why does it melt when it heats up? Why does it become solid when it cools down? What else does it do? Lots of science there to learn about wax. Then writing, you can write the story, dramatic story. I'd look for character thoughts, character speech, and really knowing how they're feeling at each stage. Recycling it, yeah, maybe you could think of things to change within the story. So if they weren't made out of wax, if they were made out of paper, or if they were made out of honey, how would that change the story? You could look at it like that. You could change the creature that the boy longs to be, see how that changes it. You could tell it from the point of view of the mother as well as the point of view of the children. You could do a sequel. What happens next as the boy flies away as a bird? lots of ways to recycle this story. So there you are. That's the story of the Children of Wax. Amazing story. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoy working with it, playing with it, and learning through it. But for now, that's the end of that. See you again soon.